yes, I'm a couple minutes early. I got my dog mess cleaned up sooner than I thought. My son just absolutely loves to give the dog things he shouldn't. Bad boy. I've got him on an all meat diet, and it's been really good for him, but he's like, the dog will beg for things, and he'll be like, oh, but he's so cute. And then I pay the consequences. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. It's been this spring weather has been absolutely crazy. And last night I was planning to stream, and I had one neighbor that was playing rock music. I had another neighbor playing Mexican music, and I had another neighbor that was in her backyard talking to her neighbor. So every part of the yard was off limits. So such is life. But anyway, I hope you all had a great day. Mine was busy and crazy. I don't know who all was here. I'm getting this set up here. I'm not certain who all was here when we did the watermelon stream, but my mic cut out and I didn't finish showing you guys what else needs to be done. So watermelon like a lot of moisture, and they like, let's see here, hold on just a second. A little adjustment here. They also like mulch. And what mulch does, as it holds in moisture. So when you water your plants, it holds in moisture. So you see it's kind of moist, but it needs some mulch to hold water. So I have leaves from my tree, from my front yard, and I bring them to the backyard and set them in piles. And this is the first year I've actually I've attempted to use mulch. I just always water, but I feel like it's going to hold the moisture in a lot better. So I'm going to try it. Things to make sure when you're using mulch, and these are things that I've learned. Sorry, I have a straight hair. Things that I've learned just recently is there's a product called Graze On, and I did a short about it. But there's a lot of farmers who are very organic that had their crops go to crap, and they're like, why are my broadleaf plants struggling so much? So Graze On is a chemical that they use to spray pastures to kill like the broadleaf, the clover, the hardwood plants. And when the cows eat the grass after they spray with this product, it doesn't break down in their system. And so then it goes into their system, they crap it out, and that Graze On is in the manure. So that's one thing to avoid when putting a mulch down. Also the hay. If you buy hay or some kind of a straw for your mulch or for your barrier to keep the moisture in, make sure you ask whoever you bought it from if it has the Graze On product, because it can destroy your ground for up to 4 or 5 years. And it takes a lot of planting. So you have to put like peas or beans or things that, yeah, companion plants are great. But when you use the Graze On, it actually kills the soil. So you'll have to plant things like peas and beans, which will dry it out of the ground, or you have to take the whole dirt out. So that's straw. Second thing is beware when you're using mulch. If you're someone who sprays your lawn with like any kind of a broadleaf killer that kills like dandelions or clover or any of those things, make sure that you do not put that grass clipping right onto your soil, because that has those poison, those toxins in. And that's just actually something that I've thought of the last couple of days since I've been doing the research on Graze On. And actually a good site, which I'll post a link later, there's a survivalist gardener, David the Good. I just barely have realized who he is, and he has a lot of great information for like survival stuff and that type of thing. So those are things to watch out for. So manure, make sure it doesn't have grays on. Straw, make sure it doesn't have grays on. And then your grass clippings, make sure they don't have poison. So everything I use for mulch comes from my yard. I know what I use and I know the things that I use. I don't put any kind of poisons, fertilizers. I do spray only my front lawn for dandelions because it annoys the neighbors when you don't. I should just be a pain in the butt and say whatever, screw you. But it's a menace. So I try to be kind that way. But anyway, so I've got some leaf clippings from my front yard. Really? Sunflowers clean up dirt? Skylar the creator. I did a bunch of research on, excuse me. I did a bunch of research on sunflowers. The actual sunflowers from, and I could be wrong, this is just stuff I read. They actually, when the seeds fall, they actually put out a hormone that kills everything around the area. And they say not to ever till up sunflower, like stems, leaves, or anything that comes from sunflower into your ground, because the hormone that they put out actually kills plants around them. I could be wrong. I actually, was it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I had a sunflower in my garden and I was wearing shorts and I was so proud. This thing was like 8 feet tall and it was just about to bloom. And a huge windstorm came up and it fell on my leg. And within like 4 hours, I had the hugest blistering infection coming on. And my daughter's like, oh, just a hydrogen peroxide on it, it'll take all the slivers out. Well, sunflower barbs, they're the little hairs on them are actually barbs. And so they kind of hook. And so when they're in your skin, they just stay there. And for whatever reason, I don't know if I had an allergic reaction or if, I don't know, if I just got instant bacteria into my skin, but I had an infection that lasted like 7 days. And I'm antibiotic, but it was to the point where I actually had to go get injections in my butt because I drew a circle on my leg and it was growing. Like it started out this small, and by the end, it was this big of a circle within 5 days. And so maybe I'm wrong, but I did a bunch of research onto sunflowers. I know they keep other things away, but anyway, so did that reconnect for you guys? If anyone's in here, please let me know. I just turned off. Is it working now? I just turned off my computer, so I had it where I could see a locals chat and the chat from YouTube. So I just wanted to make sure, yes, it's lagging, or yes, it's fixed. I hope it's fixed. I just shut it down. So I'm just going to have to try to look at the chat that's on my phone from YouTube. It's a little bit more difficult. But I think sometimes on the weekends with everybody using the internet, usually it has 124 MPS, which is a lot of data going up. So hopefully it's going to be fixed. But we could talk about whatever, guys. I appreciate you being here. Is that better? Okay, I just turned off whatever was using the internet source. So hopefully it's going to work. So let me see if I can show you. Some of you working right here in this area. And I'm just going to spread out mulch. If there's things you guys want to talk about, there's some crazy things going on. Some crazy things going on lately. So I guess Budweiser decided, or Harley Davidson decided that they were going to partner with Budweiser and their stock plummeted. Surprise there. Like, let's be real. Let's not be silly, guys. And those who are new, I'm sorry, I'm my own cameraman. So I have to adjust and move things around the yard. Eventually, I'll talk one of my kids into helping me out. Yay, that's good, guys. So all those who've come, I really appreciate you, because I'm trying to learn this technology stuff and I'm trying to get things under control, and it helps to have people here to kind of talk me through what's not going right and what's going wrong. And I think I set my hoe down. So when I put the mulch down, I'm going to take these leaves I've had stored up. I'm actually going to spread them about 1 inch to 2 inches thick. The one thing when you're putting down a mulch that you have to watch for is it can become moldy. So you do have to watch your plants for mold and kind of treat or clip off the affected leaves. When I come out in the yard, or there's a lot of people that have their plants on a drip system so that they're watered automatically. The main reason why I personally don't do that is because I want to come out and check out my plants as I'm watering. So I'll pull weeds. I'll check to see if they're getting any kind of a bug or a disease and try to treat it before I lose my plant. And that's just a personal preference. Having everything set up on drip system definitely is more convenient. But for me, it forces me not to be lazy and check out my plants on a regular basis. So once again, these are just leaves that are coming from my front tree that I bring to my backyard and I just kind of store. And in the past, I've tilled up these leaves into my ground. And then doing some research, I'm like, oh, I could put that down as a mulch to kind of keep the weeds down and kind of keep our plants looking good. So these watermelons, we planted them this last week and they're thriving. And the one I transplanted, I thought was going to die, but it's looking amazing as well. And I have more stuff I'll put around, but for now, since the plant is just in this one little localized area, I'm going to surround it with the leaves and the mulch. And once again, I know for certain that none of this stuff has any chemicals on it, unless someone secretly did, because it's from my yard. And a lot of people don't have that luxury of having plants that are, and things for mulch to come from themselves. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this. I'm just going to hurry and get this around these plants. And then I'm going to show you the peppers have been in the ground for a week and a half now. The tomatoes for about 5 days. And we're going to go and prune off any of the leaves that are touching the ground. A lot of disease comes from the ground into your leaves while they're touching the ground, if that makes sense. So I've got a nice good ground cover. The good thing with having mulch too is it'll help keep your weeds down as well, which is a definite bonus. And I have flowers that are spread out throughout the garden because the flowers are, bees are attracted to bright colors. And so these leaves actually have a little bit of mold on them. So I'm actually going to put them back in the barrel because mold, the spores kind of spread. So I'll let them dry out. But it's been really weird. This whole, like right now, we're usually in like 85 to 90 degree temperatures. But I think today was barely like 60, maybe low 70s today with a lot of storms. So I've got at least the base of my watermelons and covered up really good. And then there's actually some wild ones over here. See if I can show you. I'm actually going to leave them right where they grew to see how they did or how they'll do, kind of as an experiment. I've got like one here. Let's see, point there. One there, one there, one there. And I actually have one growing right in between the raspberries. And I'm just going to see if they do all right there. So I'm going to experiment with them since I have that huge bush of raspberries over there. I'm not sure if any of these ones over here will produce any fruit this year because they were all transplants. So I'm going to take some of this mulch and quickly go put it on top of those watermelons. Watermelons require a lot of water, hence the word watermelon. So you want to keep the moisture in as much as you can. Some people say put a gallon on a day or this or that. I come out and I look at the health of my plants every day. And if plants look like they're struggling, I try to figure out, are they getting too much water, not enough water? And usually you'll know if they're getting not enough water because they'll be droopy and limp. And too much water, they will start to turn yellow. But yet they are still firm. All right, so I've got some mulch around those couple of plants. So I'll turn around the camera and show you. Let me see if I can just flip it without having to relocate it. Just taking a picture of the stem, then I'll have to just turn it around. Let's see. Oh, I think we'll be okay. Hold on. All right, so we have our tomato plants. And you can see, actually, I just take it off for a sec because I want to show you up nice and close what these look like. Because it's actually kind of crazy to see the difference of what they look like once they've been in the ground versus in the house. So I'm going to get nice and close. Can you see how rich that green color is compared to those are all the leaves that were in the house? It's not hard to see the contrast, but you can kind of see how the upper part's really green and underneath isn't as much. And that's just from being in the ground and getting good nutrition and good photosynthesis. Anyways, I'm going to take you around. I'm going to show you. Hold on, I'm taking these gloves off. Did anybody do anything fun today, by the way? Tomatoes. Yeah, you know what, Cedar Rose? I don't know if you've seen my watermelon or any of my other videos, but what happens is if you have seeds or plants that have come wild in your garden or from the previous year, they actually adapt to their environment. So if you have a really hot environment, they will adapt and learn to be more tolerant of the heat. If you have a cooler environment, they will gradually learn to adapt to the cooler environment. Watermelons do not do well with temperatures at nighttime below 70 degrees. So if you live in a zone where at nighttime you don't have lots of nights that are 70, don't try to grow them. You'll be very frustrated. I mean, I guess you could try, but the success rate isn't very high. So we're going to go over here and I'm going to show you how to, just going to prune the bottom leaves off of all these plants. And before I forget, guys, thank you for being here. I know you guys have a lot of options as far as who you watch at night and who's going to entertain you or who you're going to hang out with on a Saturday night. And I thank you for being here. You guys make it fun. Let's just bring this down. If I make you seasick, just put out a birdie emoji. I'm done with that. I get that. I try to be very aware of that. Let's see. One more adjustment. And now you'll be able to see really good. Perfect. All right, so anything that's touching the dirt we're going to cut off because we want any bugs or anything. It's just going to make it really easy for them to crawl up and make it moldy. And they'll set up another shoot anyway. But I grow my tomatoes along the fence for a reason, because as they grow, I'll actually wind them through the fence, and it'll be like almost like grapevines going through the fence, and it makes it easier to pick come fall time. And because it's on a fence, I'm able to see I'm able to see the tomatoes and the bugs trying to grow. And when I go through and cut, I'm actually looking for bugs. I'm looking for aphids. I'm looking for other things that might be trying to steal the plant. And on this one, I can already tell that there's some aphids trying to grow on the bottom side. Duke, stop being a bully. Stop. The blind dog thinks that he's going to be able to protect me. Cracks me up. So we're just going to gradually trim these off. It's not a hard chore. But a lot of people just plant things and they get them in the ground. Plants need care. I mean, you still get some good production. But if you take the time to go out, and once again, I'm looking for bugs or disease on the bottom of the plant to make sure I don't need to spray with anything. The only thing I spray on the bottom is neem seed oil. It's completely organic. It does not have a long shelf life. So it lasts about 5 days. So you can spray this every 3 to 5 days. You want to make sure you don't spray during the daytime or directly onto any good insects. So I have a lot of really good like ladybugs out here. So you want to make sure that when you spray neem seed oil that you're doing it at nighttime, because then the bees are gone. Wasps, I don't really care about. I hate wasps. They're mean. They intend to try to bite you. All right. I'm actually going to start. I'm going to move to the other side of the garden where I know I have a better angle. It's the first time in a long time I've had any kind of an issue with streaming from YouTube. When I was streaming with Streamlabs, I dropped all the time. Anyway, so I showed you how to do the tomatoes. I'll do the rest of those later. But we're going to go through with the peppers because these have been in a little bit longer and I haven't checked their health for a minute. So I'm going to go through and see if there's any leaves that are touching the ground. And I went through and I put a nice good mulch layer down here on the ground. Sweet, thanks. I just moved the camera to the other end, and it might be a weekend thing because there's nobody home at my house. There's no electronics moving. But so I'm going to go through all these peppers. I'm checking for bugs for one. And I've actually found like 3 or 4 ladybugs that I've moved. So that one has a little aphid on the bottom of it, so that's good that I'm cutting that off. But I've been out here, did I say aphids? Or I had some ladybugs that were growing wild out here. And so I moved them off of other plants and brought them out to my peppers so they would start feeding on the larvae. But there was something interesting that I learned. Ladybugs are migratory animals. So say you were to buy ladybugs online, you may get them from Colorado or Wyoming, and they will try to migrate back home. So it's better if you can find them in their natural environment and keep them there. So that's another reason why I'm quite careful to not spray irresponsibly, because you don't want to kill the ladybugs. When you use neem seed oil, you can either put them in, I have it in a 1 gallon sprayer where I can just give it pressure and I can just directive spray directly onto larvae. And that seems to work the best. And then for like my plants, when I spray my ivy or my umbrella tree, I actually use is it an Ortho? I can't remember the brand, but the spray bottle actually lets you change. You just pour the solution in the bottle and you hook it to the end of your hose. And you can set whether 1 tablespoon per gallon, 4 tablespoons per gallon, or 1 cup per gallon. And then you can do more controlled that way. So when I do my palm trees or my ivy to kill the white flies and the mosquito larvae and the other annoying things, it works a lot better. Not sure what you said there. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I thought for some reason I thought Asian ladybugs were not, they're not the good type of ladybug to have in your home or in your garden. I could be completely wrong. I'm gonna adjust this a little bit and see if you guys can still see what I'm doing and still see me talk to you, because I want to do both. Yeah, I've actually been watching out. Are they Asian beetles or the Asian ladybugs? Yeah, I don't know, because there's an Asian beetle and there's an Asian ladybug, and I thought that the Asian beetles were kind of like a skinny, kind of like centipede looking like bug with black and red, and I could be wrong about that. And these, I don't know what's going on with this basil. I'm gonna have to try to figure out what's going on with them. This is not typical for my basil to look like this early in the year. Usually when they're getting traumatized by the heat. Oh, there's actually some really good foliage underneath. So they might have just been shocked from being inside because they were quite large when I brought them outside, which usually I buy them and plant them right away. But this spring has been so crazy. So I'm just gonna go and cut off anything bad growing, kind of give it some, let it focus on the healthy leaves and not the bad ones. I'm gonna look for any type of a flower on basil you want to cut off, because once they start to flower, then they'll stop producing. They'll stop producing foliage because they think their life cycle's over. So a lot of times you have to trick plants into thinking their life cycle's not over. So that works with flowers as well. So however they reproduce, you want to stop them from being able to reproduce. And it says, oh, I haven't reproduced yet. And so then they'll produce whatever it is, either more flowers or more foliage. So I think this plant is just stress from being inside. Did I drop again? I hope not. They are ladybugs. I'm gonna have to do some research on those. I know that there's been some that have come over, like either in the soil from foreign countries. I think a lot of the stuff has come into from China, the Asia area into like Oregon, and then they migrate. So that was starting to bud on the top of that. So I'm actually gonna go down. I'm gonna cut a couple things down because I don't want it to flower. This won't be ready. I won't be using, I guess you could make basil, like fresh spaghetti sauce all year long, or even like basil soup. I use it mostly for my spaghetti sauce, so I use it in the fall. Plus it acts as a barrier between my hot peppers and my sweet peppers. So it makes it so the pollen doesn't cross-pollinate, or that's what they say. I'm hoping that's the case. Because if you plant your sweet peppers and your hot peppers next to each other, you'll turn your sweet peppers hot and your hot peppers sweet. So it's kind of more like an in-between, which could taste good if that's what you're going for. See how that's starting to flower right there? So I'm wanting to go down just a little bit. Probably can go down. So both of those, see how both of those are starting to flower? We just want to get rid of those. And then it'll start to produce. I'm not going to cut too much off this plant because it's really struggling a little bit. And I don't want to shock it too much. So that's just where I'm going to stop on that one. And I don't know if you can see the one that's directly in front of me. Let's move that a little bit. I'm going to take the camera off myself so you can see a little bit better. I'm actually doing on this plant. That's crazy that they go inside the house. So I can see right now that those are budding quite a bit right there. I'm just going to go down. I've been actually doing a lot of research into like the hydroponic gardening, where they put things in in a plant or in a container and the root system goes down into the water, I still haven't figured out how they're giving them the nutrition and the flavor they need. Like, I don't know if that type of vegetable actually tastes good or fruit or whatever. I'm kind of curious to see how that works. So it seems like Mother Nature was meant to have our gardens with dirt because they absorb micronutrients and macronutrients. And it makes me wonder if that's skipping a step. Take some of these leaves off, but not too much. Cedar, did you say it was raining a ton at your place as well? Forgot to bring my bucket to carry around with me. So I'm going to have a lot of cleaning up to do later. I was thinking of attempting to do another movie night tonight, but and just see if I could figure out what. I think I figured out what I was doing wrong. I think I had too many people using the internet at my house. Hardwire it into, well, one, the computer crashed. That was one thing. And I don't know if there were just too many people using it. So this plant looks a little sickly. I don't know if you can see that right there. Anything that's sickly on a plant, if you can just get rid of the disease on it or anything that's not healthy, it'll thrive and it'll bounce back. So I'm gonna try to angle this camera down. Hold on. It's trying to tell me how to rotate it. But there's on tomato plants, right at the base where that stem comes out, I'm not sure if you can see right there, there's already a leaf starting to form. So I'm going to cut it at the base, but I'm going to make sure I don't cut off those leaves because where I cut it off, a new one's going to grow. And I haven't gone through, usually I have these already all caged up and braced up with cages, and I haven't. And I'm hoping, so far I haven't regretted it, but I'm hoping I really don't. I don't know if you can see the difference of the color of the new growth versus the old growth that was inside. Do you see how much paler that is? That's the difference of having it in the ground. So this is one of the main reasons why I don't grow in containers. It just seems like they do better outside of the ground or in the ground. Oh, you guys have been raining a ton in Canada. Is that where you said you're from? I don't want to like dox you or anything. So I thought I remember you saying that at one time. But Canada's huge, so don't tell me what town you're in, please. I had a bunch of family that lived in Vancouver, so my parents lived there for a while before I was born. I had an uncle that lived there, and he actually died under the wonderful medical system of Canada. He was waiting to get a biopsy for cancer, and he had died while he was waiting for the ability to go in and get tested and to get medical care. And I guess he was dead for 2 weeks in his apartment before anybody found him. And that was not recently. So my mom was still alive. So that was like 12 years ago. Very sad. So please, let's not get to that socialized medicine? These tomato plants are looking pretty good. Pretty excited. These are the healthiest that I think that my tomato plants have been this early in the year. I think a big part of it is I waited just a little bit longer before I put them into the ground. I usually plant, or not into the ground, I seeded them later. I usually seed them mid-March or April. Let's see, no, end of February. And I waited till mid-March this year because last year they were so tall that I could not manage them in my home. So I'm trying to think what news. Did you guys, anybody watch Camelot do his race today? Yeah, state-run healthcare. I'd rather learn how to do that on my own, I guess. I don't know what's going on with that. You see how that's, I don't know if you can see that close, but it's got a whitish tint to that leaf. I'm not sure if a bee or a bird went potty on it or what, but I'm going to just take it off. So if it's diseased, I want it gone. I don't want it affecting the rest of the plant. Yeah, it was really sad. I think that was the first one of my mom's siblings to pass away. She passed away. He died from cancer. And then my grandpa passed away. Did my mom pass away first? My grandpa passed away from cancer, esophageal cancer. He never drank, he never smoked, never had coffee. So he passed away of cancer. And then I think within 15 months, my mom passed away from cancer. So my uncle, my grandfather, my mother, and then my grandmother finally passed away, and it was her heart. And I think it was just broken heart syndrome, right? You start to see your kids go. But it was really sad. It was hard. But they were all, and I think that's kind of why I'm a freak. That's probably the most number one reason why I'm a freak about organic gardening is because my grandpa was a cattle rancher and a farmer his whole entire life. And he was that man that always taught his kids to, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you go to church, you be a good person. And he dies from cancer. My mother dies from cancer. I have uncles that have died of cancer. I've had cousins die of cancer. And it makes me wonder if all those chemicals, like the Roundups and all those things that you spray, and back then they didn't wear masks. They didn't know what they were doing was causing harm. They're just like, oh, well, I can produce more things this way. So that's probably why the biggest number one reason why I'm such a freak about it. And it's my health and it's my kids' health. But anyway, I don't know who all was here. But look at all our peppers. They're actually doing really well. I'm going to set the camera down here. I'm just going to kind of go across real quick. Haven't heard if anybody's seen anything. Yeah, glyphosate. Shake and bake, baby. Oh my gosh, I saw the saddest YouTube short today of a lady who showed her baby at 3 months old and at birth, before shaken baby syndrome and after. It was really sad. I don't know how people, like, I get babies cry and they get so frustrating and it's hard, but it's like, let them cry. They can't hurt themselves by crying. So I'm going to have to get the camera. I'm going to have to show you all these good blooms. So I'm going through here and I'm cutting off anything that looks diseased. Like, see all that stuff? That means something's been eating at it. I'm just going to get rid of that. It's already got new growth growing. I'm going to just cut off a lot of these lower leaves and let the plant focus on the upper stuff, the fruit production. So anything that's low touching the ground, I'm just cutting off. Oh my gosh, I was so excited to make a video. I had strawberries coming on this morning. So I went out with my camera to go take a video. And my son was sitting on the back porch. And he had gone through the strawberry patch and eaten all the beautiful red strawberries. They're on and they're looking really good. Thought it was cute though. It's like, that's what they're for. We'll have a mid-morning snack out in the strawberry patch. Got tons of flowers on my raspberries, which I'm pretty excited about. This plant is either sun scorched or something's gotten to it. So I'm just going to take it off, let a new leaf take its place. I don't know how many. I'll come do a lot of this later. Or we can just keep talking. Yeah, that's how it happens. Boys. This plant right here. No, it's this one back here. I don't know if you can see this one. It's like 2 down. This was hysterical. I was so excited because I had these huge plants and I'd done such a good job of taking care of them and not cropping the top off. Right there. Oh, I can't. I'm not showing you the right plant. Right there. It was like this tall and I actually broke it in the wind when I was trying to put the trellis for it. Stepped right off. So now we have an experiment going to see which ones produce more fruit. Ones that were cropped or topped or those that weren't. So a lot of these are sun scorched too. Just going to take that away. I don't know. Can you guys hear the crickets through my mic? I don't know if the mic I got condenses it, but I can hear the crickets are just going crazy right now. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to finish those a little bit later. But if you were here the other day and I did my cucumbers through here, I told you that I wasn't sure. Oh, you can't hear them. They're so loud. I'm going to take my lapel mic off because I think it has a condenser in it. So it kind of blocks some of the outside noise. But it's kind of cool. So these are the cucumbers I planted. If you can see, I may have to seed some like pretty soon. They're kind of in shock right now. I don't like them to get that big before I transplant them outside. So I'm going to keep an eye on them daily and see how they're doing. It looks like they're still sending some new shoots out on the end, like right there. There's some new shoots coming out. They look like they're healthy. So we'll have to look and see, but I'm most likely going to have to buy some new ones, which I'd prefer. Well, I could try to seed, but I just wanted to have a summer crop and a fall crop. But anyway, I think what other topics I listened to today that was interesting to me. Did anybody see the Tara Reid that she went to Russia? That was interesting. That she felt like she needed to go there in order to not be whatever that is that they do. That I don't know if I should say. But those who know, know. Those who don't. I'll give you a tour. Here's our tomatillo plants. They are actually looking amazing. This is the first time I've ever planted them. And I'm really looking forward to learning how to make chili verde and some green chili sauce. And I'm hoping that my neighbors are going to teach me. Oh, she was? I didn't know that she had been arrested by a spy before. Was she arrested or they by a spy, or they were trying to say that she was a spy working for Russia? I know that there was some kind of a court case and they had stopped the investigation but didn't close the investigation, which means that any time they could just decide to open the case and do whatever with that information. So it kind of seems kind of like Matt Taibbi with the Twitter things, how they open an investigation just before he leaked some stuff. And then once again, okay, so it was as a spy in 2018. I thought she was arrested as a spy but they closed the case. They didn't close the case. They just stopped the investigation because of the elections or whatnot. Therefore, they could use, if you get arrested under the Espionage Act or something similar to that, they can hold you in prison for up to 18 months for whatever. No trial, no nothing. You can be there up to 18 months before they file charges or do anything about it. So that was in 2018 before the 2020, and now it's just before 2024, and she was supposed to testify before Congress. She had it all arranged to do that, and then supposedly, I don't know if this is fact, this is just what I've heard and read, but supposedly she went there for a book tour, and certain senators told her that she wasn't safe and they couldn't give her immunity. Whether that's true, maybe it's people being hyperbolic, but it's just, this is why I have a garden, because I'm gonna be able to take care of my own family and know I will never do any of those whatever people do. Yeah, mentor, thank you for being here tonight. I really appreciate that. I don't know, I didn't show you, I was going to show you these guys last night, but I didn't get a chance to take a picture. So bought these really cheap lights at Costco, like, I don't know how many years ago, 2 years ago, but it allows me to hang out. Let's take a bigger distance, but it lightens up the whole entire backyard, and I can see, I can work in the garden late at night when there's no wasps. Mosquitoes are horrible, but I don't have to worry so much about wasps. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go here pretty soon. I'm going to finish doing a couple things out here while I still have the light from my lights. And, excuse me. But, hi Cole, how are you? I know, I could stay on for longer. I have some flowers that I want to plant, but I didn't know if that would be too boring while I chit chat, because I think planting flowers is fun and the colors I choose. But my deck, I'm missing flowers being on my deck up top when I sit by the fire and enjoying them. So when you guys are ready for me to be done streaming, give me a thumbs down and I'll say goodbye. If not, you can hang out with me and we can just chill for a little bit. Didn't really have anything going on tonight. My son, who's now 18 and graduated high school, went camping with his friends, which for me, going camping away from cell service, touching grass, kind of makes me a proud mama, to be honest. Like, there's so many other things. He could just be like laying in bed and being lazy or whatnot, but kind of, so I'm home alone tonight. So I'm kind of wanting to hang out with some friends. So you guys let me know when you're ready to go. But that was interesting on the whole Tara Reid thing. And then what else was, I talked about the Bud Light thing earlier, how they partnered with Harley Davidson. And that's going to be interesting to see, since Harley Davidson is such a good brand. I wonder if that'll affect them that much. But I think their stock dropped another 2.3% right after the open, after Memorial Day weekend. So, okay, this is a test. I'm going to see if this signal drops. When I go through this, there's a certain part of the garden I swear is cursed. I think there's ghosts that come by and they block the signal because they think I'm too loud. I don't know. Maybe they are. Those are all the raspberries that we transplanted earlier in the year. They're all like super thriving, growing up that trellis. So excited about those. I know I'm a nerd, guys. I like pretty things, and flowers are pretty to me. But those are my cool lights. Let's see. You see? They're LED lights, and so I shouldn't have to replace them very often. But those are our strawberries that I was going to show you earlier. I guess there's a couple still on there, but the kid, he ate them all. There's like 3 or 4 left is all. But the good thing is, because I don't use any pesticides, I don't have to wash them before I eat them. So I'm not going to get sick from it. And it's like the perfect summer treat. Like when I mow the lawn, I'll just go out and throw some strawberries in. All right, guys, I'm going to set up and I'm going to plant flowers. And I'm going to sit out here. There's my pond. My pond lights are on. And yesterday my liner came finally to fix my patches on my pond. So I am going to be able to fix it and have the pond cleaned out, the rocks set up, and be able to sit out and enjoy it. But so any of those who have things going on tonight, let me know. I won't be offended. Obviously, I can't be offended because it's your choice to be here, but I appreciate you being here. I'm not sure if this is up all the way. So don't leave. I just got to go get a couple things from the garden to bring over here to plant. Because this is easier. I think the lighting is better over here. And the internet signal is better over here. Until my neighbors start playing rock music and then I have to shut it down. So if that happens, you'll know why I shut my thing down. My son's like, why didn't you just tell them? I'm like, because it's not their fault. I'm out here and YouTube's so weird. Hold on, I'm going to go close the curtains in part of the house. There, now you can't be spying on my bedroom, okay? Just kidding, that's not my bedroom. All right, hold on. I'm going to be right back. I'm trying to think what else was interesting that I was wanting to talk. Yeah, don't be peeping. There was something that I wanted to say, and this happened the other night where I knew it because I was curious about it and I was curious about your thoughts on it. And of course, I can't remember exactly what it was. Even though I have a lot of flowers, I'm really conscious of the water I use. I try really hard not to ever leave my water on without a timer. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. My dog's like, what are you doing, Mom? Oh, there's my drink. That's what I was looking for. Gloves and drink. Oh my gosh, there was something that I wanted to talk about news-wise. I'm gonna have to start writing things down. When I do garden streams, I usually talk all about flowers or whatnot. But so on my deck, I always like to have flowers up there because, like I've said 1,000 times, I be liking lots of flowers. And so when I'm sitting out there, it's kind of like the Jordan Peterson thing where he's like, have a pretty space in your house or have a place that makes you feel calm and at peace. And so that's kind of like, my room is one of those places, but my ultimate calm place, honestly, is on my deck. I have a fire out there, so I can sit up there and relax and enjoy that. So I don't clean out my flower baskets like most people do in the fall because sometimes the things will seed and come back if I water them. So in the spring, if I don't see anything growing wild, then I'll go through and then I'll pull out all the stuff that didn't grow. I like the look of the basket look here, but I don't like how it doesn't hold in the moisture. So what I have done is I have actually taken a garbage bag and I have lined the inside of the basket. So it's lined so that when I water it, it actually, I don't know if you can see it. You can see a little bit of the bag right there. But it's lined so that it will sort of hold in the moisture. So then I can reuse this look for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. I think I bought this stuff 3 years ago. So after this year, probably next year, I'll have to buy some more. But I'll actually wait until fall when they go on sale. And then I'll just buy them and store them. But this is one of my favorite planters that I like. It's a bigger one, but and I'm boring in this way. My other planters, I experiment with different flowers just depending on my mood. But I always put a geranium in the center, and I like a hot pink one. So whatever hot pink geranium I have, I'll plant there. And then I like to put a dark purple midnight petunia, 1 or 2 of them to the side. So I'll probably put a geranium in the center and 2 purple. And it's just because I like the colors together. And I've said this a lot of times, flowers, gardening is whatever your taste and your style is. Like if you don't like tomatoes and you don't like to eat them, don't plant them because they're not your taste, they're not your thing. It's just be true to yourself and the things that you like. But this will just hang on the stairs of my deck upstairs. Anyway, spray it with just a little bit of water. But so when I put the plastic bag in there, you have to poke holes in it because you need the water to drain. If you don't let, a lot of plants need the soil to drain, or else the roots will rot, and you don't want the roots to rot. So geraniums, they've said that geraniums are supposed to keep bugs away, and I always plant them. I plant them because they're pretty, but I haven't, personally, I haven't noticed any kind of a difference. When I plant them or not plant them, I still feel like I have the same amount of annoying critters or flying bugs that come by. And the other bad thing about this type of a basket for your yard is they attract wasps. They like to go and steal the fabric, and they'll sometimes build a nest. So you need to watch for that and make sure they're not building a nest where they shouldn't be building a nest. I'm gonna go grab I actually put the flowers on the other side of the yard. We'll grab them. All right, I'm back, guys. Checking on my dog on the other side of that. He's laying on the grass on the other side of the house. So here's what happened. So I'm a very picky person when it comes to being a pet owner. That I firmly believe that if you have pets, they should be part of the family. They shouldn't be caged up. They go where you go. So I never put in my backyard. I never spray the weeds in the grass. I actually pick them by hand. And it's because my dog eats grass when his stomach's upset or anything like that. Well, I went to go into my neighbor's yard to pull her weeds. And I noticed that all along my fence, all of my grass is dead. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that has to be Roundup. And Roundup for animals, if you have an animal, Roundup is like the worst thing because your animals eat the grass, and it's like the #1 cause of lymphoma in animals. So anywhere where you have an animal, do not spray Roundup. But anyway, so all along my fence, along the side, all the grass is dead. And so I asked her if she sprayed Roundup. She's like, well, yeah, of course I did. And I'm like, don't spray Roundup. I'll come weedy, I'll come pull weeds, but please don't spray Roundup because it seeped through her side of the fence to my side of the fence. And I'm sure my dog's been eating it, which just, I'm silly. I love my dog and I never want anything bad to happen to him. But if you're a pet owner, don't spray Roundup where your dogs are. I don't care if you use it, but you do you. I don't, anywhere. So this is my geranium. I'm gonna see if I can show you over here. If the lighting gets horrible, I can actually try to turn the light on the background. But this is actually really a hot pink color. I've cut the flowers off 3 or 4 different times, and that what it's done is it's made the plant grow out bushier, and in the end, it'll end up sending out more flowers. So after I plant this and let it bloom one time, then probably for 2 weeks, I'll actually pick the flowers off because they'll just make it so they have more flowers on there. And since this is a much more narrow basket, I'm not going to add a bunch of soil because it's already got soil from last year, plus the new soil. But I'll keep an eye on it, and I'll add like granules of some fresh garden soil. In my plants, I'll use a little bit of Miracle-Gro dirt, but I don't use any other kind of a thing that anything where food touches, I don't, or that I will eat. I don't use anything or where my skin's going to touch. I don't like to put a lot of fertilizers. But I will my planters if they're struggling a little bit. But mostly to fertilize my plants, I use Epsom salt. I'll use, and I've said that, I repeat myself a lot, but it's 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt per 1 gallon of water. And that usually does the trick. Now I'm going to put petunias in here. And the one thing to know about petunias is aphids love petunias. So when you first plant them at the first of the year, you need to keep an eye on them and make sure they're not getting infested with them because they will spread very rapidly. They multiply 5 babies a day times 5. So they're not just multiplied, they multiply infinitely. But if you get a handle on them really when they're first starting to grow, you can keep them under control. So this is going to be a hot pink with purple, which is what I really like. I wonder if the storm's coming back again. My dog just ran in the house, which is not normal for him. I usually plant 2 on each side because I know typically at least one of these dies. Hoping not this year, but it just seems like that's just the course that it goes. Cedar, I hope you're doing good. I haven't seen you chat very much, so I hope that doesn't mean anything bad. I'm kind of separating the root system on the bottom. Petunias do well in the heat as long as they have plenty of water, so they can be full sun or part sun. The ones that are part sun honestly do the very best for me. Those that have full sun struggle a little bit, and same with those that are in the shade all the time. So those that get about 6 to 8 hours of sunlight seem to do the best for me in my area. Gets up to about, in the summertime, like July, August, it'll get to 100, 105. Well, mostly late, like 98 to 100. So 105, not super common. The last couple of years we have, but I think that's just the polarities changing. All right, so we've got one basket done. So I've got 2 more to do to go on the deck. Pretty excited about it. I'm gonna go drag this one up there real quick, and then I'll grab another one on the way back. Does anybody have any questions? That was easy. But the biggest thing is if you like this type of a look on the outside, but your flowers die all the time, before you put your dirt in there, line it with a garbage bag, poke some holes in the bottom, and I actually took some zip ties and zip tied the baggie to the metal frame so that it wouldn't slip from the container. Hi, Julian. How are you doing tonight? Miss your face. All right, so we got one down. We've got this one already soaked with water. And that's why I'm trying to decide, be a little bit more creative, and had my flowers sitting out for a minute, trying to decide what I actually want to put in there. Just open up the other container. I'm gonna go through and look and see if I got any wildflowers growing from last year. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily leave them in this particular container. Just means I'll transplant them and put them somewhere else. By the lights, can you tell why I like to sit out here? It's my favorite place. Today, while I was sitting out here cleaning or watering plants, I found this big, huge snake shed, which means I have another big old snake lurking around somewhere out here, which means I have to be on the lookout. And they like to come out about this time of night and sneak in and grab my fish and kill them. It's so annoying. Because I like snakes. If it wasn't for my fish, I wouldn't or even try to catch them and relocate them. All right, this thing's gonna lick all over this table. Most certainly, because there's holes in the bottom. See that? I'll hold up for just a second. So I've been trying to decide what colors I think. I think I want to put one of those orange geraniums in here with the lobelia, because like that's kind of a purplish bluish flower. So I think that's what we're going to go for. Unless you guys, those who have been watching, have a suggestion. Sorry, I had to walk over to the other side of the yard. So these are lobelia. You can see right here, they have, you see how they have like a bluish, purplish flower, and they get really big and bushy. So I'm thinking I'm gonna put a lobelia on this side and this side, and then put that sherbet looking geranium in the middle. Because I got one more left. So I'm kind of thinking that that orange color with that blue will look kind of cool. This planter, so my one planter is always the same, just because I like those colors and they make me happy. And the other ones I just experiment to see what they look like. Let's just see what looks different. This dirt is still, even though I just watered that and leaked out, it's still so dry. And when I'm done planting these, if you're still around, I'll go up to the deck and show you what they look like when they're all hung up. So I hung that last one up when I went upstairs to grab this one. Kind of mixing up this dirt. The dirt in here is fresh dirt. It was brand new from last year. And I'll usually try to use my dirt for at least probably 2 years. I watered these nice and good this morning, but they're already bone dry. Just crazy because it rained all day. I guess I should ask, is the wind super bad through my mic? It's supposed to muffle it, but the wind just decided to pick up. So this is pretty root bound, so I'm going to kind of break these up a little bit. I don't want to be aggressive with them. I just want to be nice and kind of massage them out. Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. All right, so that little guy's ready to go in there. Unseparating the roots, it just allows them to spread out instead of being in a ball. It just makes them just do better. They thrive more. And once again, these are lobelia. They have like a, it's more like a, in between like a powder blue and a baby blue color to them. And they're not root bound because these are ones that I grew from home. If it's too dark here too, let me know because I have other lights I can turn on. Just haven't yet. And these will branch out and spread pretty big and they'll just get like really bushy. I planted these a lot sooner. I think I planted these like February 15th indoors. In the past, I've done it like mid-March or end of March, and they're a lot bigger since I started them sooner. A lot of times they're not flowering yet by the time I get to this point. Some of this dirt in this container is starting to break down a little bit, which means I'll probably have to add a little bit. But not being all the way full makes it easier to water because then you don't lose all of your dirt when you water as it runs off to the side. Trying to think of something interesting in the news that's happened that maybe you guys will be interested in. I haven't really had a ton of time to catch up on things today. We had a family thing going on in town, and I actually had to leave and then go back because the storm picked up, and my dog is super, uber, duper, duper terrified of storms, like to the point where because he's blind, he doesn't think, and then he runs into things because he's not taking the time to slow down and be aware of his surroundings. And I guess that's kind of a thing for humans. Like when you're feeling panicked, you're feeling stressed, to breathe and to realize it's okay to slow down. It's not going to be that tragic. I don't know. It's kind of a weird analogy, but sometimes it seems like in life when something seems panicky to you or bad to you, it's really is not as bad as it seems. And just taking a minute, slowing down, breathing, and realize everything's going to be okay. I don't know. Let's see. Didn't realize we've been going so long. Is everybody still doing okay? I'm doing a longer stream, and a lot of it's practice for me, practicing keeping my internet going. I can do some experimentation and see that, if I got to fix something, I can. So those who are here, I appreciate you. And I'll say that till I die, because I do appreciate the small people. Not the small people, but the true people. To me, you guys are the ones, you're true. You're true, and I appreciate you. And as soon as you guys are ready to go to bed, just flip the bird or put a thumbs down. You people, no, not you people, my friends, my dear friends that I have grown to appreciate so much. You'll never know. You'll never know, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go put this up on the deck real quick. So don't leave me. I'm setting my mic down just because I don't know if I have any kids up in the kitchen, and I don't want them to get on mic if they don't want to. So give me 1 second. Take me 2 minutes. We've got one more to plant, and then why do you hold your gun? Why did you like that? Please babysit, sweetie. How many people left? Oh my God, I still have 4 people. You guys are the best. Oh, do you guys ever have like instinct where you just like have a feeling? Like normally I would have taken my mic off to go hang up that plant. I'm like, I wonder if, just if someone came home. So my son's supposed to be up camping. And I walk up on the deck. I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be camping. But the sweet boy came all the way down. I think it's an hour drive to pick up one of his friends. And I guess a pellet gun. But I don't think there's anything I was going to do with a pellet gun. Or whatever. I guess I could shoot. I think jackrabbit is around here. You can shoot all year long, if I'm not mistaken. Because they're a nuisance. They're a nuisance animal. All right, so once again, this thing is filled with weeds because there might be flowers, but it's not looking like there's anything green other than this big old weed. And I haven't decided. So I've got that creamsicle colored with a baby blue. I think I have a red New Guinea Impatient that I'm just completely in love with. And I lost one of these straps that goes to this thing. I'll find it later. But anyway. It's so crazy. Like as a girl, I love to camp, but I would never just gone up camping with all of my girlfriends. They just never would have done that. But as a boy, it's kind of like makes you wonder if like you get to go out and feel safe and go camp and chill with your homies and have a great time without worrying about safety. For just a minute, I'm feeling just a little bit jealous. Not that like I didn't go camping, but you could never just go with just the girls on a camping trip. I guess you could if you had, I don't know. I personally would never just feel safe doing that. And maybe it's just because I was taught that you don't do that, but I don't know. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of, love that he's adventurous and he's out hanging out. He's not stuck in front of a computer. All right, we'll grab that flower. It's a lot of fun planting flowers with some people to talk to. This flower I'm grabbing, it's like, I haven't seen this color before in a New Guinea Impatient. It's just like really deep red. Like I've seen the pinks and the light pinks and the sherbet colored. This is the first one for this. Camping in June? Yeah, they're camping. I'm not going to say where they're camping, but they're going. They usually start going camping Memorial Day weekend because that's when it usually starts getting nice. And like I said, the weather wasn't that great today, so I wasn't sure if they were going to come back today, or I was wondering if he'd come back early. But it's kind of crazy because he started packing everything at like 3 in the afternoon, and he went through his little checklist. He made sure he had a tent, sleeping pad, food, propane, flashlight, knives, pellet. Well, he forgot the pellet gun. But he went through and he packed, made sure he had like a hammer to stake down the tent, made sure that he had some games, so firewood games, some cornhole, and some fun things to do. And this day and age, who plans ahead like that? Hi, G-Man. How are you doing? Hi, Cedar. Appreciate you guys being here. But no, it's kind of like, to me, it was a proud mama moment because I didn't have to ask him what he needed and if he had everything. He went through the whole list. He's like, I got this, 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 and this. And I'm like, okay, I think you're set. Which, I don't know. Yes, I'm a nerd. My kids are growing up. They're responsible adults. They can handle themselves. Hold on 1 second. I don't know what that is. Okay, sorry guys. I usually have my other computer set up. What I'm going to do is I have a category 5 cable that I can run from my front of my house out this way. I have one long enough. So I'm going to just run a Cat 5 so that when I'm out here, I can have access to my computer without it stealing internet speed. So I had local setup and I had YouTube chat set up. on the phone, for whatever reason, it just blips. So I'm trying to keep up with what you're saying, but it's a lot more difficult. I got modded. Yes, I have the coolest people. My mods are so amazing. Okay, so I've got this red color. I'm having an ADD moment. I think my meds are wearing off. Just kidding. So anyway, so I got this flower. I'm trying to decide. I got some yellow. Got some really pretty yellow pansies. They're kind of a pale yellow. But I don't know if I want to go more drastic contrast or more subtle. Pale yellow is, to me, is more subtle. I'm gonna grab both. This one you guys are gonna have to take a vote on. I'm just on the other side of the house right now. I had to move all of my flowers out of the wind last night because it got the wind picked up. I'm so sad you guys can't hear the crickets. They're so cool. All right, where did I put the... Going on a tour of the yard. Got this yellow flower. These are just marigolds. I don't know why I've never really planted a ton of marigolds in my yard. I don't know. I don't know what the reason is for that. I don't dislike them. I can't remember if they're the ones that always attract earwigs. I'll have to do some research. I can't find my... All right, I'm gonna have to go for one more look, but I kind of think that yellow next to that red looks pretty good. Maybe I'll put one marigold to each side, and then a pale yellow to each side of that, just to give it some difference. So this is the one where I'm kind of being creative. I wish some of my other petunias had bloomed, because I have a bunch that grew from seed, but they haven't shown their blossoms yet. I don't know what color they are. And it's all because I took the seeds. I harvested the seeds in the fall, and they all got mixed up into the same bag. So I don't know which are which. So I've got these colors. Let's kind of decide. Let's see what color is which. Ooh, I'm torn. Maybe I'll put one of the darker color. Maybe I'll go against the green and not be symmetrical. Oh, mod drama. Julian, you're going to be a mod. I just didn't get your chance to put your email in yet. There's no mod drama. Not allowed. I had a busy day today, and I didn't get much time to spend on the computer. No cat fights. So I have to start calling you women. Ooh, I'm kind of really torn. Do I go for symmetry, or do I go for kind of wild? I can always change it later if I don't like it. I can always dig them out. That one's kind of got a little bit of... Spray this one off really good. Those roots are really bound. When your roots are really bound, you can just take the hose and spray them really good and kind of spray the dirt out of it. It'll allow you to separate them better without breaking them. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. So by taking the hose... Oh, okay. Well, I'll talk about that later then. So there you can see. Yes. You and Mike against Zeno. Yeah, I like it. So see how those came apart? So I just took the hose, and it wasn't on like a hard spray. It was more just on flood directly onto it. And so now those aren't bound like that. And now it'll help that to do better. I'm trying to decide, do I go against the grain and put an orange one on the other side, or did I go with symmetry? Dense the grain or symmetry? That one's tough. I'm going to go with symmetry. I like symmetry. These kind of smell good. Good, that's what I thought too. And this one's really bound too in the root system. So I'm just gonna directly putting that water into it. And it's not a lot of pressure. It's really just, it's just on flood mode on my my nozzle. As I'm doing it, I'm just kind of working the nozzle. You would. All right, there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like that. So since the marigolds are they'll be taller, but they'll still send it. If you trim them back as they grow, they'll keep producing flowers that kind of bush out a little bit. So that's why I wanted to put it next to this. And on the ends, I'm going to put a pale yellow, which I haven't really seen this color before. Maybe you guys have, but it's not very often that I see like this pale yellow petunia. Yeah, I'm hoping that they're going to they say that marigolds are supposed to keep mosquitoes down. I haven't found anything that keeps mosquitoes off my deck. We'll put the pale yellow there, and if I don't like them, like I said, I'll dig them up and put them somewhere else. Or I'll dig them up and give them to my neighbor. So sometimes I have a habit of overbuying my flowers. I buy too many. But I have this cute neighbor next door. So if I ever have any extra, I'll just go either plant them in her backyard or in her front yard. And I won't tell her that it was me. So I'll try to do it when she's not home. So they don't ever go to waste. Like any seeds that I overgrow, like my tomatoes, I brought like, I think 8 plants that were left over to some people down the street. Sometimes we take for granted like that we can afford things. Like for me, I always, like when I was first married, back in my younger days, I used to get sad because I couldn't afford to buy, I was poor, I was just married. And like I wanted to have flowers and stuff. And so I would get sad because I could only afford to buy a certain amount. So that's why a lot of times now, that's why I plant from seed, and whatever's left over, I try to give someone, give them to someone that I think may use them. For sure won't waste them, but if I can find someone that's more in hard times, I'd rather give it to them. If that makes sense. I know, it sounds kind of silly. It's like, who can't afford some flowers? But it was pretty tight times. And that was during like the 2008 market crash. That's not when I was married, but that was another good time. All right, I'm gonna put this sucker in here. I'm gonna move this one up on the deck as well. And then I'm gonna take the camera up there. I'm gonna show you what they look like in their little spots because they're so cute. If I can find where I dropped this other little metal bracket, hold on. I know there was 2 there. I brought it over. What did you say? Not silly at all. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, I'm gonna go look for that. I think I dropped the bracket while I was bringing that thing over this direction. I'm gonna be mad if I can't plant that tonight or hang it up and show you. Okay, I know it's here somewhere. What do you think the chances of me finding a metal bracket in the ground in the dark? Probably not very good. Okay, let's see. Retrace my steps. Oh my. Oh well, I'm gonna go. I swear I just had it right here. You can see what it looks like. So it's just got a, like a elbow, and it just hooks over the deck. So it just hangs up there. And I didn't put my flowers away. Someone else did them for me. Hold on one sec, guys. If I don't get that one up, then it'll just have to be a surprise. Who's leaving? Last 2 rounds? My goodness. Thanks for stopping by, Julian. Hold on, guys. Look one more last time. I don't know what I done with it. I swear I saw both of them earlier. Oh well, I'll just set it up there. I'll take a picture for you. Women, I'm losing my marbles. Okay, hold on one sec, guys. I'll go put this up there, and then I'll take my camera up and show you. Darn the luck. All right, I'm just going to set it on the ground. I forgot that I had a bunch of pansies out in the garden. So if there's anything that wants some color diversity, you can always go grab one of those, which is kind of nice to have that option. All right, I'm going to have to look for that thing in the morning. I'm sure I dropped it in the grass. And I hopefully don't ruin it with a lawnmower. Put these away, and I'll just take the phone there and show you. One last little look. I know I set it on the grass right here. If I would have mowed my lawn today before, like I was planning on, then I would be trying to find it. Oh well. It'll show up because I know I saw all of them. Guys, thanks for coming out tonight. I'm excited to go show you what they look like. The deck's not all the way put together yet. I got most of the... So on the inside of the deck, there's ivy too, but I don't like it on the inside of the deck, so I'll go through and I'll just trim it. And it's like a weekly thing that I have to do, or just whenever I feel like it. So anyway, so that's, I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to take the phone off, and I'm actually going to flip it. Hold on one sec. Sorry, my daughter came home. Had to let her know I was on. Let me flip this around real quick and I'll show you. Does it, on your end, does it look as granular on your end as it does on mine, or it's pixelated? doesn't seem like it's that fantastic of a image. Hold on. See, that's dirty. I guess that's kind of hard to see. But right there is a spot on the deck that has, so that's where the geranium and the petunia will go. And then over there in the corner, oh, there's those lights behind there. That's where the that creamsicle colored geranium with the lobelia that's got that pale blue. And then in that back corner next to the deer antlers, which are those moose antlers, are those moose or elk? Oh my gosh, he added something to it. Let me see what he put in there. My kid thinks that his deer collection's going in that spot, but it's not. He's mistaken. You can have one or two. What is that? Is that caribou? That's a new thing. I have no clue. Not caribou. We don't have caribou here. That would have to be... I don't know what that is. Anyway, this little corner right here is where that other basket that we just barely did is going to go. So I'll have to cut those back. I guess those could stay there as long as they're not in the way. So I'll cut those back tomorrow. And then this cute little basket right there is going to go up there. And then we'll have one more little basket right there that needs to be done tomorrow. But... so then I can come out here and I can sit and talk to y'all and I can have my pretty flowers behind me. It'll be fun. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Tonight was not really going over anything super important, just more just chit chat and then hanging out. I hope you guys had a great Saturday night, and depending on what all the other streamers are doing or who's up and doing what, I may attempt to invite some friends, some people to come watch a movie. Nothing high profile, just to practice setting up a Prime stream and trying to coordinate it with YouTube or whatnot. So just more practice, knowing that there might be some flaws going into it. The neighbor lady that talks to herself. I actually told my neighbors, I'm like, I started doing YouTube videos. So if I'm just talking in the backyard, talking to myself, I'm not crazy. But I have amazing neighbors. And I used to live in a really ritzy part of the town and it was like everybody had so much money. The houses were huge. And I was single at the time. It was a year after being divorced, and I promised my kids we'd have a house. And so I moved into this house and I lived there for 3 years. Not a single neighbor. And one neighbor, they would talk to us once in a while, but they were pretty close houses. But no one would slow down long enough to say hi. Nobody had conversations. Nobody checked on you. I moved out here, and within a week, I was in my front yard. I had people like, "Hey, how you doing?" and stopping and talking. And I will trade that from living in some ritzy neighborhood any day of the week. My neighbors are great. I have all 6 of them are amazing. They're amazing people. If I were to call them in the middle of the night and say I have an emergency, could you help me out? They would be here, and vice versa. So yeah, they know I'm the crazy lady. It's okay. They watch me climb trees, stand on the roof and cut trees, but they're sweet. All right, I will see you soon. And I'm not sure. I can't see what time it is. So I think I started at 8:30-ish, 2 hours. So I might do a movie. I will post it in locals. It's not going to be something official, but I'm just going to invite y'all. And you can come hang out and we can chit chat on there. And I may try to stream it on YouTube for practice reasons only. So if it fails and crashes, it's going to be okay. So I still don't know how to get the heck off these things, but I will see you next time, guys. Have a wonderful night.